Okay, hey everybody. Welcome to another edition of Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David and I'm your host. Today, I have for you special guest, President of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, who is doing lots of wonderful stuff. And I had to bring him on the set so he can share all the stuff he's doing for Trinidad and Tobago football. Let me take time to introduce him, Mr. David John Williams. Welcome to the set, buddy.
Good evening, Steve. Good evening to the viewers. Pleasure to be here.
Good. You know, I just sit here and realize you have a great first name, man, David. So that means you
David killed Goliath in the Bible. If you go and look at the biblical name of David, you will understand what it means.
Right. You can't be you're half good then. At least you're half good, right? At least. All right, David, you got so much stuff going on now for Trinidad and Tobago. When it comes to football, I think you should share with the viewers.
Well, Steve, thanks for having me. As I said, football in Trinidad and Tobago has always been etched in controversy. Football in Trinidad and Tobago has a long history of good, but more recently, we have a history of bad, and it is no secret. I think the objective of the new administration of the TTFA was to change that image. It's not going to come overnight. When we got into office, well, before we got into office, actually, we published a strategic plan, which you probably had a look at. And bit by bit, we are following that strategic plan and trying to tick off all what we have achieved. Mm-hmm. The first thing we wanted to do was to get the books in order. Mm-hmm. So we did audited financial statements for 2014, 15, and 16. We wanted to get back in the good graces of FIFA, get back our FIFA funding. We did that. So we have audited financial statement. We are fully compliant with the sports company. We wanted to have a season ticket program. We did that. We wanted to have a national elite development program, which is ongoing. We did that. We wanted to have a grassroots program. We launched that last week. And we wanted to have a home for football, which was our major thrust and one of our major objectives. And within the last 2 months, you would have seen a lot of things unveiling as it comes to the home of football, and that's going to become a reality by September next year.
So let's take them piece by piece. Which one you want to talk about first?
I want to talk particularly about our National Elite Youth Development Program, which NLCB has taken on board and has supported us to the tune of $8 million over 4 years. And the program entails strengthening the zones. So we're actually getting the top under 13 boys and the top under 14 girls in the zones, which we call cream of the crop, and we bring in the zones together. There's a competition going on, an inter-zone competition between the zones, East, Northeastern counties, South, Central, Tobago, and who am I missing there? And East. So the 6 zones that we have in the football, and there's a competition going on a round-robin basis, of which 2 of the rounds are being played in Tobago, unprecedented. So 40% of the games are being played in Tobago. Normally, it's always Tobago to come here, so we sort of balance it. And that competition is ongoing for the boys. The girls will start in early November because of the fact that we don't have the number of girls as boys playing football, so they take a longer time. And we'll have the girls' competition in November. That competition is ongoing right now, and you'll be amazed to see the talent that is on display. So the TTFA is taking a bottom-up approach rather than a top-down approach to develop a pool of players, a national pool of players, 40, 50, 60 players, so that it's going to be a competitive environment, develop young professionals, put them in the environment, and it has been tremendous. I want to say, Steve, and I want to tell Trinidad and Tobago, I am very thankful to the parental support. It was a fantastic day last Sunday at the Atto Bolden Stadium, where we had North playing South. It really was a North-South classic, and it's something that the Trinidad public should see, and I'll give the opportunity for it to be shown on X. It was really a North-South classic, and it's interesting to see the amount of talent on display. And what we want to do with that pool of players, we already plan to go to either Mexico, Guadalajara, or to Spain for the whole of the Easter holidays, where the teams can play at least 6 games and expose them to international competition. This is a team that we are grooming for the next 3 years for World Cup qualification in 2020, it will be 2019 for under 17.
Right.
So we have a bottom-up approach, and the following year we start back with the under 12s. So next year we start with the under 12s. So it's a complete program, empowering the zones, bring their youths together, and then having a national program from which the players are going to be selected, and we have a national pool. I mean, it's a fantastic program, and we're happy about it.
And I understand the league, the zonal competition, but how is the zone team, the selected team?
They select the team. The TTFA is paying all the staff, the head coach, assistant coach, goalkeeping coach, physio, manager. The TTFA is paying for everything. The TTFA is paying for the uniforms, the traveling uniforms, the playing kits. The TTFA is providing all the balls, everything the TTFA is providing. The TTFA is even providing a maxi for the supporters. Right? So we are doing everything in terms of the logistics. What you have to do is to get the kids together, have your screening session, get your best 25 together. So it's creme de la creme. So it's the best 25 from North Zone, the best 25 from South Zone, the best 25 from Northeastern counties, the best 25 from Central, the best 25 from East, the best 25 from Tobago. And they are being placed in a competition on a round-robin basis. So we have 5 rounds of matches, and the national coaches are looking at these matches, and from there they select a pool of about 40 or 50 players.
Okay, so that is from the group of guys you have spread out over the country.
Yes.
Who is running these kind of clinics?
Yes, they're running these. So they're probably training twice a week, and then they have the match day on Sunday. And so it has a very good program, and we have a lot of ex-national players involved, Ron Lies involved in the East, and all that stuff like that. So it's a very tight and very good program.
So if I'm a great young player like under 13 and I'm sitting at home, and nobody told me this, and I never heard this, and I'm just now hearing it for the first time. How do I get in?
Well, it's an ongoing process, Steve. When we select the national pool, the zonal screening continues, because sometimes you will miss 1 or 2. Sometimes you have late developers. The zonal program is going to continue. As a matter of fact, this week we are meeting the zonal presidents and secretaries to plan for next year. What are the expectations? Next year, we don't intend to support the zones in terms of we paying for everything. We're now going to give them a grant.
Right.
And you have to now start to manage your affairs.
Right.
So that if you don't manage your affairs, you know what's going to happen. You know, it's going to be bitter pills to swallow. And for far too long, we have accepted mediocrity in Trinidad and Tobago. And we have accepted things well, but we don't want to do that because you want to be a like president or you want to be a like general secretary. We got to do things right. So this week we are meeting all the zones, presidents and secretaries to plan the next year program, which we are going to now give you a grant, and you administer everything, get your program in place, select your 25, and then we will have the same program that we have in this year.
And will the coaches belong to the zone?
The coaches belong to the zone, yes.
And they have to do that?
They have to do that.
Right.
Mind you, on the back of that, you must have qualified coaches doing it, because the TTFA has a major coach education program. So we're putting criteria. You must be at a particular level of a coach to coach these kids, and that's very important. Having said that, come January, we are going to start the registration of the academies.
Right.
All right, and those academies, for you to operate, you must be registered with the TTFA with a certain level of staffing and a certain guidelines. Right. If you're not registered with TTFA, we're going to pass the legislation, so to speak, to shut you down.
Who oversees all that?
It's going to be overseen by the new technical director, who is Mr. Anton Cornell, because we have moved Mohamed Issa into that director of football. He's going to be responsible for more grassroots. We are moving at a pace, so we need those 2 people to support the development of football in Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, so the parents, if you have your kid and who didn't get a chance to get in, he still has a chance. It's an ongoing process.
But Steve, I must say, the talent that is being on display is amazing, and if we can get better than that, we're in good shape.
We're in good shape for the future.
We're in good shape, yeah.
All right, well, it sounds like we have plans going for the future.
Yes, of course, of course.
And we certainly need that.
So beyond that, last Friday we launched, of course, along with the Home of Football, which we'll speak about later, a grassroots program. Newco Corporation, the subsidiary New Iron, has pumped 100,000 US over 2 years. And the objective of that program, we're going to collaborate with the Ministry of Education and the primary schools. And we want 2,000 kids playing football at the same day, at the same time, right? The TTFA is going to provide all the kits, the balls, the equipment, and everything. And we're going to use players in the Pro League to sort of mentor this whole program as part of their social responsibility. So that is now adding value to their whole belief and stature. And we're going to get 2,000 kids playing football at the same time for an hour and a half on the same day of the week. We have already gotten the blessings of the Ministry of Education. We just have to work out some synergies with the ministry and so on. We're going to start with 80 schools across Trinidad and Tobago. The objective of this exercise is that for 6 weeks in the term, because the term runs between 12 and 15 weeks, for 6 weeks in each term, we'll have kids playing between age of 5 and 9 playing football, right? Each kid going to have a ball. We're going to provide all the kits, the boots, everything we're going to provide. And it's about re-engineering and re-energizing the whole football. We want by next year, this time, to have 4,000 kids playing football. And by the following year, we will try to get up to 10,000. When we can do that, FIFA will come in and give us a grant to sustain our grassroots program. So it's a very important program for us that we have launched, and it's going to be very huge.
I noticed you say same day, same time, and you didn't say same place, so it has to be
across. It's not going to be the same
Right.
place. For that to be the same place, Steve, it will depend on the home of football, which we'll talk about.
Right.
But eventually, what we want to do when we have the home of football, when we're going to build 7 fields, we're going to bring maybe 2 or 3 Saturdays for the year. We bring all these kids to the home of football and let them have fun, let them be exposed to the facilities, let them feel the dream, buy into the dream and all that stuff like that.
Right. So it sounds like we're on a good track, man. I'm so excited about what you just said.
Yes, Steve. I mean, it's disappointing that we've been out of the World Cup, but you know, it was a difficult campaign that we started badly. But the purpose of this administration was to build from the bottom, put a good foundation. I think the last time I was on the program, I said we want to establish a foundation for football. You know, right now the football was built on sand, you know, and not on rock. And we want to build a foundation that the football can be sustained.
You know, when, as we, on the World Cup thing, when we brought in the new coach, I thought we should just, you know, let bygones be with, we lost the first 2 games. I know you guys were very optimistic and you had hope. I didn't have that much hope. And that's why I thought we should.
Steve, you know, we live in a society that only believe in winners. And sometimes, you know, it's difficult. How do you try to please everybody? It's very difficult. It's not every day you get an opportunity to try and qualify for a World Cup. So you had to give it its best shot, even though that there were challenges. And you would see the challenges based on your history and your knowledge and so on. And a lot of other people will see the challenges, but some of the fans would not see those challenges. All they care about is, we have to qualify, we have to qualify, we have to qualify. And the thing about it, Steve, and I may get criticized for this, is that had we qualified for the World Cup, the ills will still be there. You understand what I mean? Now that we haven't qualified, we have to correct those ills and fix it. You know, the discipline in some cases was not as it should be. Players breaking camp and all that stuff like that. Players playing minor league. It was very difficult, you know. And having said that, we have to accept those things and we have to change those things. And the quicker the Trinidad and Tobago public accepts that it's not only the administration to blame, we'll be on the right track.
And the person I'm most sorry for is the coach, because I thought he came into a real spot where, no-win situation, of course, but I thought if we had brought him in like right now, there's no World Cup, no pressure on him. Start to build a team from there. But now he's at the bottom of the ocean trying to find air on top before he can go forward.
Steve, it depends on the support he gets and the belief the administration places in him. Dennis has given up an opportunity of being in Europe to come back and give back to his country. He's a legend, so to speak, because his head got us to the World Cup, our first World Cup.
Right.
So he has that history and he has that going for him. He's a very passionate coach. He's a very professional coach. You know, and I can't fault Dennis in terms of the preparation of his team. I think there was a thin line in this campaign between success and failure. I mean, the call against Mexico, the call against Costa Rica. But sometimes that's how it is. And I go back to the point that it depends on the support that you give to him and the support that the administration is going to give to him. Though it's not a good thing to say, because in England, when they say we support the coach, the next week he gone.
Right.
I can say categorically that we are going to support Dennis in his quest because I believe in him and he has what it takes to get us there.
That's what I was about to ask you. As long as he gets the support and they don't hold that against him, because I think they put him in front of the fine sport.
Of course, of course. I mean, I come from a club background, and I remember vividly, and I would always bring it in the first year. We had decent success. We won the FA, and the second year, you know, we were drawing a set of games, and you know, people were calling for my head coach head. And why you don't fire the man? Why you don't fire the man? But I don't believe in that because I was actually seeing his capability and think the rest is history. So I have that experience. The other thing is that the knowledge that I have as a president, being in football, what he has been up against, I had knowledge of that, and I have to understand what he has been going through and what he's had to experience. He has given the undertaking that he's going to fix all those things that were wrong, from the dressing room go right back, and he couldn't fix it overnight.
Right.
And he's going to do a good job, trust me.
What I don't have confidence with is his supporting staff. Specifically, the guy who comes in, his assistant from England or whatever.
That was a temporary arrangement with Saul Campbell, just for the tournament, and I understand that. Going forward, he's going to have a more permanent support staff. It's difficult to get a guy like Saul to come here full time.
Right.
I mean, hopefully we can work out the logistics of him being a full-time coach right after the campaign. And I understand and sympathize with that, but that's what Dennis wanted at the time, and that's what Saul could have offered. We have to also look at the backroom staff in terms of having more permanent backroom staff, like in terms of analysts, statisticians, and so on, because what we have used in this campaign is temporary staff. They just come in and do the analysis of the game, the GPS system, and so on. The Trinidad and Tobago Football Association is working towards having its own GPS system and all that stuff like that, which we will put in place so we'll have it going forward for 4 years.
Okay, David, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll pick up on the other stuff we need to talk about. Viewers, we'll be right back after the show.
It's a national academy. For example, we feel that at the home of football, we can bring 5,000 kids and put them on the seven fields. And people, it's more embracing the whole football, bringing it back, bringing it to life.
We are inspired. We are practiced. We learn. We have challenges. We are supported. We persevere. And we shine. This is our commitment to you.
Welcome back, viewers. David, before the break, we talk about the grassroots program and all the different things. Now, I know you have a special project going on in Central.
Yes, it's the home of football, Steve, and let me describe the home of football. Before I describe the home of football, in life you make two major investments. You buy a car
And a house.
and a house, right? I just think about you not having a house and you're in an apartment,
Right.
and you're in the apartment and the landlord say you gotta move, so you gotta pick up all the things and
Right.
go. Your family, everything disrupted,
Right.
and you go to another apartment, and then the family ain't like it. You know what I mean? And you all over the place, and you just don't know where you're going. The home of football that is being constructed today is based on all that. We have never had a place to say, call home. I used to say the TTFA never owned a parrot on a stick. We are now developing something called the home of football. The government of Trinidad and Tobago has given us the Atto Boldon Stadium and to start building this home of football. And they have given us prime acreage. They've given us 21 acres of land. On that 21 acres of land, we're constructing a 72-room hotel, 7 training pitches, which are going to be all floodlit, right? With ancillary facilities, medical room, weight training room, everything that you want in football is going to be there. So the first phase is going to be a 72-room hotel with ancillary facilities, medical facilities, laundry, everything, and 3 training pitches, 1 which is existing and 2 which we are going to construct. All are going to be floodlit. We intend to complete that project by September 2018. Phase 2 of the project, phase 1 also includes income generation project, which is going to be a sports bar, sports entertainment, etc., which we are also going to put in phase 1. That you're going to come and you relax and you watch the Champions League, you watch Trinidad and Tobago play.
Right.
You come and you hang there before the game at Atto Boldon Stadium. After the game at Atto Boldon Stadium, you have a place to fellowship, relax.
Right.
You don't have to come on the road.
Right.
We're going to keep everything there. This is based on the backdrop that you have the aquatic center there, you have the cycling velodrome there. So it's a lot of people. So we are going to capture all those events. So even when football is not happening, and there are other events happening there, you know that the income generation project is going to go on. So we have nailed this one. And of course, again, the hotel, we're going to take care of all the sports, cricket, football, because they're right there.
Right.
And nobody will have that quality accommodation. So therefore, we expect our hotel to be 90% occupancy. We don't have to get a return on our investment. The land has been given FIFA funding. So everything goes to your bottom line. So all that income can go to the development of the sport. So that's phase 1. Phase 2, which we hope to start in 2019, we already started phase 2 in terms of clearing the ground for 4 additional training fields to the front of the Atto Boldon Stadium, which are 2 artificial and 2 natural grass. We don't have the funding for it, but Junior Sammy has come in and given us the tractor so we could have cleared that portion of the land. So to summarize, phase 1 is going to be 3 training fields and a 72-room hotel. I'm going to tell you this. The hotel is going to be a hotel with a difference. We are going to recognize, we are going to build a Hall of Fame within the hotel.
Right.
So the rooms are not going to be room 1 or not going to be room 2. The rooms are going to be named after football legends in this country, right? And within that room, if it's a Steve David, again, I don't know who is going to be there because an independent committee is going to choose these people.
Yeah.
So if it's a Steve David, you'll have who was Steve David and his history, where he came from, etc., etc. Because for far too long, a lot of our young people don't know the history of our football. And that's one thing about the English. They could tell you the history of their football, and people can understand where we came from. The TTFA is now going to change all that. So within that, you have a room, whether it's a Russell Latapy, a Dwight York, so you actually, I'm staying in Dennis Lawrence.
Right.
Here, I'm staying in, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, come meet me at Dennis Lawrence.
Come and meet me at
room.
Dennis room, you understand what I'm saying? So everybody's going to be recognized.
Right.
I know that there's going to be a challenge in this because we have so many legends that somebody may get left out, but that's something I don't have any control over. For me, the intent is pure, and people need to understand what we're trying to do as a result of that, to recreate our history. Because a lot of our under-17s, I mean, you look at us, we are 50, 60 years old. They don't know who the hell Steve David was.
Right.
Was he fast? Was he good? And we have to also try to get as much material on our past footballers and our history to show the people where football has evolved so that they can accept. If you don't know your history, you don't know where you're going.
Right. But you would have a major staff for maintenance and to control this facility. And who is allowed to play in these areas? Can any club just say, I walk in, I want to play?
Steve, let me give you the intent of the Home of Football. The intent of the Home of Football is for all the stakeholders of Trinidad and Tobago football with control.
Right.
With control. So it first and foremost is for your national teams.
Right.
Right? First and foremost, it's for your national teams. Secondly, it's an opportunity that we can host international tournaments without any major expenditure, right? Which will bring revenue and foreign exchange to Trinidad and Tobago. And thirdly, it is for, if a professional team want to do a camp, they can get it at a reasonable price.
Right.
If a secondary school want to do a camp, we can work out things. So it's for everybody who is involved in football. If referees want to have a course and people come here, they can stay at the Home of Football. But within reason and within the parameters that we expect to run it. It's not going to be a free-for-all because you have to understand that this is, it has to be managed properly and there are priorities. But this is for everybody in Trinidad and Tobago football.
Like a national academy, kind of.
It's a national academy.
Right.
For example, we feel that at the Home of Football, we can bring 5,000 kids and put them on the seven fields. And people, it's about embracing the whole football, bringing it back, bringing it to life. But more importantly, Steve, everybody knows where the national teams are training now.
Right.
So no longer
Looking for it.
you're not looking for you know where you're training.
Right.
You're no longer training in Manny Ramjohn, you're no longer training down in Point Forte. Everybody knows where the hub of football is going to be, and that's at the Atto Bolden Stadium. So no longer we'll be searching, no longer the reporters will say, well, national team training today, boy. You know. So everything is going to be systematic, well planned, well laid out. The national program, no longer the under-17 will be clashing with the under-20s, no longer the under-20s is going to be clashing with the seniors. Everybody knows when the training is going to happen. Every team is going to have a separate field to train on and all that stuff like that. And the fields are going to be floodlit. So we could train 6 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock in the night. So I don't think Trinidad and Tobago really understand what it means to have a training center.
Right.
You know, where you can feed your players, you can manage your players. You could bring the kids in on a Friday, right?
For the weekend.
For the weekend.
Right.
And you can plan your program. And the parents now will feel a little more comfortable. But because their kids are in a secured place, they're going to be well fed. I mean, kids like the under-13, if you bring them in on a Friday afternoon, you have a couple of tutors there, you do their homework, they make sure they do, and you have Saturday and Sunday. So it's something that is really going to be a major investment in Trinidad and Tobago football that will help us propel to the new generation. As the CONCACAF General Secretary said in the turning ceremony, it's the reboot of Trinidad and Tobago football.
What would make that great too is like the under-13, under-15 is there, and the same weekend the national team is there.
Yeah,
so they can get to see open their eyes.
They'll be starstruck, you know.
Right.
And I have always of the belief that there must be that interaction.
Right.
But for example, if you have the under-13s and the under-15s using the ground floor and you have the seniors using the upper floor, they can't go there. They have to aspire to go there, exactly. if you understand what I mean. Yeah. And those are the things that encourage people. And those are things that these kids will know what it is to be a professional. And that is why I think our senior team now has to change their focus and change their mentality and realize that they are now going to be mentors, because now you're going to be rubbing shoulders with these kids possibly on the same day. And it's unfortunate things that has happened in the past. We have to change that. You and I have a responsibility. You as an ex-player, you as a journalist or a host of a football program have to help change that. It's going to be some bitter pills to swallow, but it's only for the benefit of Trinidad and Tobago football. Exactly.
And we all have to give. We all have to give back something, and is what we're here for. But you have competition in so many things that you haven't probably thought of, or maybe you have. You would have 10,000 groundsmen want to be part of that. Or or
Yes. So
cleaners or
everybody,
whatever
you know,
to be part of that whole operation?
everybody's going to be part of it. But Steve, you know what? I think I said it on this program. We are looking for people who are passionate, who will pick up paper for football. You know, sometimes you see paper on the floor, you're getting paid, for doing something else, but you won't pick up the paper, if you understand what I mean.
Right.
Those are the kinds of people that we're looking for. We're going to look for people who have been involved in the game and can make that contribution and have the qualifications to do that. So if you're looking for a driver for the bus, we will look for probably an ex-footballer who has the qualification and the ability to do the job, who will bring that certain dimension. Maybe you don't find that, and we may have to bring somebody from the outside who is more professional to do that. I think we have to take the football to a level that understands how to be a professional. In Trinidad and Tobago, for far too long, we take things for granted, and that has to change. The only way we can change our football is by being more professional. I always have that saying, we are behind on the 8 ball. We don't have the numbers of a Germany, a France, a Belgium. We don't have the numbers. We have the talent. We don't have the environment. So we are now going to change that environment and use the elite athlete development format to change our football.
So we have places selling TTFA paraphernalias and all the
Everything is going to be there. The income generation project with the sports bar is going to have TTFA memorabilia shop as well, and everything is going to be branded out TTFA. It's all about rebranding the TTFA and recreating that image. I think the home of football is a legacy project. It's always going to be there. We can only expand on that home of football. It can grow larger. We see, as I said earlier in the program, that we can have 90% occupancy at that particular facilities because I said we cater for cricket, volleyball, basketball, swimming. Everything is going to be catered for at that facility. If you want to use it, athletics, you want to use it, come. And we are now going to put a lot of people out of business. Because instead of going to the Hyatt where you have to pay 100 and something or wherever you have to pay 100 and something, come there. It's going to be much cheaper and just as good. So when you come from the airport, and let's say you're going to swim in, all you do is one transport to the airport, accommodation, the swimming is right there. Volleyball that's using the aquatic center, right there. Cycling, right there. Cricket, right there. You don't have to travel. You're saving a lot of money in time, transport, logistics, everything. So the facility also is geared towards supporting government in its sports tourism trust. So now when you come to Couva, it's going to be a hub of activity. It's going to be a sporting village where you can get everything. And the TTFA has been fortunate to capture that market. It seemed that it was just waiting for us, if you so to speak. I think it was good foresight, good planning, and we are going to now corner that market that nobody else can get. And once you corner that market, we're going to be profitable again.
How you answer to the people who says access to that place and getting out of that place is not the easiest thing?
Steve, I agree with you. And again, we live in a society where we're not really a first world country where when you build something, everything is done one time.
Right.
One of the major drawbacks of the Atto Boldon Stadium would be parking facilities, right? Adequate parking facilities. That is something that has to be addressed. But one has to understand that this is a project in the making, this whole village and all that stuff like that. I see very shortly that government may have to invest in an overpass for that facility because it's not on the metro, so to speak. Right. And I think the ins and outs of the Atto Boldon Stadium will have to be addressed because of the number of events that can be going on there at the same time. And I accept that. But we are not a patient society to understand that this is in the making. Right. We always like to criticize, but we don't criticize constructively. And I am prepared for the criticism. We know we had some challenges at the last Honduras game. But one has to understand that this is a decentralization process. The home of football is now in Couva, and we have to accept that. And it's difficult for a lot of people to accept change, but eventually 4 or 5 years from now, they will accept it and understand. And the facilities are going to change. The parking is going to be put in place. The road access is going to be improved, and we will get it right.
The Atto Bowling itself, seating capacity and all that, are we going to upgrade that, or is that
Yes,
gonna be as it is?
we are in discussions with the government of Trinidad and Tobago. The Atto Bowling seats about 9,000 now, but if you know this Atto Bowling Stadium well, behind the 2 goalposts, there is space for development. The TTFA sees the ability to change that stadium to a 20,000-seater stadium with corporate box and commercial space. I mean, the modern day stadium you have right now, you will have commercial space where you can shop and all that stuff like that. The Atto Bowling Stadium is ripe for the taking in terms of that. And we are in talks to the government with the sports company to see how we, the TTFA, can push it in that particular direction and create the Atto Bowling Stadium into a modern day stadium.
And I think location is perfect.
Location is perfect, Steve.
Yes.
The opportunity,
Central,
yes,
yeah.
is central. Not only that, the opportunity that is available in that particular area gives room for expansion.
Right.
Because if you know, when 37 years ago, when the Hazley Crawford Stadium was built, there was absolutely nothing. It was just a highway and was mangrove and all that stuff like that. You look at the Hazley Crawford Stadium today, and you got Movie Town, you got this one, you got the MRI Center, you got everything is built around the Hazley Crawford Stadium. And the Atto Bowling Stadium now presents that opportunity for expansion. And Trinidad and Tobago is going to eventually accept it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of cane
Yes,
land up and down that highway.
Yes. And it's more central, as you said. I mean, it is not too far from Port of Spain. It's not too far from Point Forte, so to speak.
Right.
I mean, when you think about, we have a lot of people from south of the island have to go to Port of Spain. It is more central. When you think about the people in Rio Claro, when you think about the people in Tabaquite, when you think about the people in Cedros, I think it's much more central. Maybe the government of Trinidad and Tobago have to look at widening the highway after Chagonas, because you get that bottleneck. But it's going to come. The development of these facilities will bring other development. Yes, our economy is down, but I think there are some necessities that need to be, and I think the government is going to address that.
Okay, good. Let's take a break. And we come back, we pick up from where we left off. We'll be right back.
Challenge any of the people in the football public. Go back to our manifesto and see how many things we have achieved that we said in that manifesto that we have achieved. The Minister of Sport at the function said we probably achieved.
We are inspired. We are practiced. We learn. We have challenges. We are supported. We persevere. And we shine. This is our commitment to you.
Okay, welcome back, viewers. David, before the break, we went through the
Home of football.
the home of football. And I know there's a bunch of little things that we're doing that we can
Well,
let the viewers know as far as your supportive.
Well, first of
support
all,
from
I want to encourage the members of the TTFA to become a little more professional.
Right.
Now, we as an FA are not perfect as well. I mean, we have a lot to do. We have a lot to clean up. We have a long way to go. We'll make mistakes. But believe in what we're doing. Buy into what we're doing. Your own zone, your own club, you try to improve it and try to become compliant with the TTFA. And it has to start from a bottom-up approach. Give us credit and see the things that we are doing. Yes, we'll make mistakes, but let's look. In 2 years, we have brought a home for football. We've been waiting on this for 109 years, Steve. In less than 20 months,
You're right.
construction has started. Yeah, I mean, that is huge. That is huge. I just want to touch on our FA Trophy competition. It's the first time in the history of the FA that every winner of games in every rung is getting a monetary compensation. So for the rung of 64, we paid out almost 100,000. We had 32 winners at 3,000, so that's 96,000. So the rung of 16, the winners will get 5,000, right? The rung of 8, the winners are going to get 7,000. When they get to the semi-final, you'll get 11,000, and the winner is getting 100,000, and the runner-up 25,000. So you just multiply how much money that we have put into our FA Trophy competition this year.
Right.
We didn't have it last year because it was our first year in office, and I felt that we needed to do something proper. And next year's FA, we want to cry to every team in Trinidad and Tobago to participate. So we're going to have 132 teams in the FA, and we're going to do the same format. It's all about football.
Positive change.
Yeah, it's about football, Steve. The football first. Let us put the football first and put the politics after. And that's what this administration is about. Football first.
What was the support group? I mean, how are you getting support from the people around and all that?
I will have our critics. We have our critics. But as I said in my speech at the Southern, I use the words of Denzel Washington, Critics never change the world. Critics never make history. You understand? Focus on what you're doing and make change in your own special way. That's our mantra, and that's what we're working towards. If you look at the last 20 months that we have been in office, think about the level of sponsorship that we've been able to bring back to football. NLCB, 8 million. Scotiabank gave us 75,000 for a grassroots program. We just got $100,000 for a grassroots, Annex grassroots program. Shanghai gave us 80,000 US or 100,000 US for the tour of China. All this has happened in the space of 20 months. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Back in FIFA good graces, we've gotten the funding to do the home of football. I mean, what else do we need to talk about? You understand? I just challenge you, Steve, or challenge any of the people in the football public. Go back to our manifesto and see how many things we have achieved that we said in that manifesto that we have achieved. The Minister of Sport at the function said we probably achieved almost everything. We have not achieved everything yet, but we are close to getting there.
When we bring you back, we will open the manifesto
and
kick off.
Listen, Steve, I challenge you. Yeah. If you want to do it tomorrow morning, you open the manifesto and see. Let me tell you, this administration is working with a strategic plan, and we're not going all over the place. There are a lot of things that people would like to see happen. People may not like this, so people may not like that. People may say, well, we're putting on buildings and we're installing the football. Something has to take root for the football to improve. And if you notice, one of the things that people don't realize in football, and Steve, you as a guy who have played football in the United States as a professional will understand that the administration of football is the most important part. Right? If the administration is not good, the football on the pitch is not going to be good.
Right.
So we have to change that. You know how our football will change when kids start from a very young age coming and learning how to camp, coming into a facility, know how rigorous training is. It's going to change. You will know that, Steve. And the administration has to be impacted in a positive way for our football on the pitch to change. Right? When that happens, you will see the change in football. And I trust you, 5 years from now, you will come back and tell me, David John Williams told you that.
It's true, because when I played professionally, we go to schools in the morning, many schools 2 or 3 times a week, just to do demonstration, juggling things, just to get people
Involved, yes.
And they come to the stadium.
Yeah, and they come to the stadium to see. So it's a whole re-engineering process, Steve. 4 years is not a long time to do it. I think we're well on our way to achieving the things that we set out in our manifesto and our strategic plan. And, you know, people will always talk. I always say, since I took in public office and president of TTFA, if I say Steve David was a good player, half the population will say, who, Steve David?
Right.
He was a shitong.
Right.
And the next half will say that
Right.
Steve David is good. And that's the society that we live in.
Right.
And we have to accept that. You know, within myself, I have to know what I believe in, and the administration that I head have to believe in what we are doing. And once we think we're doing the right thing, we are A-OK.
But you must have met challenges, and you know, it sounds like everything was like a free go, but I know you have met challenges that you had to overcome.
Yes, Steve,
What's some of those?
you're correct, and we continue to meet challenges, but we cannot focus on the problem. The problem is always going to be there, you know. For example, why worry if you know that you're going to find a solution to the problem?
Right.
We get lawsuits every day.
Right.
Right? But we cannot be stuck down in the lawsuits. People saying, well, the TTFA must have money. No, we don't have money. We are $20 million in the red. But there are programs and funding that can be accessed that can only be used for particular things, and that is what this TTFA is doing. We got the funding to do the Home for Football. It can only be used for the Home for Football,
Right.
which is a legacy project, and we're doing that. We have the funding for operations, like paying your general secretary, paying your staff, is going to be used for that. All the rest of funding that we get for sponsorship for NLCB is going to be used for that. Whatever surplus revenue we can use, we'll try to deal with our debt. It is going to be there, Steve, but we have to focus on doing positive things and do not be bogged down in the problems that we have. And for far too long, we studying, what's the problem? The problem is always going to be there. Think solutions. And that is the mantra that this administration is doing. So everybody thinks that the TTFA is swimming in money, boy. They're building a 72-room hotel. They have grassroots program there, this, that, elite program. We have marketed ourselves to create opportunities.
Let me tell you one of your challenges. Your attitude, your players' attitude. How are you guys going to correct that?
You know, it's a very good question. I'll answer your question in this way.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at what's going to happen in the next 2 months.
Okay.
And you'll see that there are a lot of people who, there'll be a lot of changes coming in the football, as Dennis Lawrence has said. You know, he has said that he has to change the culture, he has to change people's attitude and build from scratch. And I am only following what Dennis is saying. Look at it in the next 2 months and you will see a whole new culture. One of the things that Dennis has said to me, and I agree 100% with him, regardless of where you're playing, if you are not playing with your club, your chances of representing the national team is not going to be good. For far too long there, we have been selecting players who are not playing with their clubs and they come back and play with the national teams. If you go to our manifesto, you had said that there are going to be certain criteria to play for the national team. Now, we could not have implemented those criteria because we were in the middle of a campaign, you understand? And people would have felt that, well, boy, he come to mash up the campaign.
Right.
Now we have the opportunity to implement what we said in our manifesto. There would be criteria to play for our national team, and we are going to implement those criteria now.
Yeah, because back in the day, it was the best would leave and turn pro. Now is whichever agent can get a guy a contract for 2-3
But
months.
not only that, Steve, there's not enough competition.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough competition. And in your day, you always felt, boy, I had to perform, you know.
Right.
Because you see me right over my back there is a man looking to take my place.
Right.
And that is one of the objectives of the National Elite Program. We're developing a pool of players, right? That pool of players are always going to be in this thing, so you have to be on your toes. You know, so as I said earlier in the program, we are going to take 32 guys of the C national pool, either to Spain or Mexico. We're sure it's going to be in Easter next year.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we taking 32? Only 11 could play.
Right. Well,
But you know you have 20, 21 or 22 other guys who can take a place.
Right.
So they are all going to be part of a group that we are going to develop, and there's going to be competition. And for far too long, everybody think that their pick is guaranteed. You got to earn your pick, and you're correct.
Mm-hmm.
You got to earn your pick.
All right, I cannot let you get out of here because I noticed your jacket, bud.
Well, it's
and what is all this? Is there change in
yes,
not attitude in dress and everything?
Yes.
With the TTFA?
Image is everything.
Take a copy of that, guys. Yeah.
Image is everything. Image is everything.
Right.
We're rebranding the TTFA. We're rebranding our look. Board of directors, coaches, admin staff. We're doing a whole rebranding. People need to understand that we are the National Association, and we have to set the example for others to follow. So it's all about a whole rebranding. It's taking time. We're changing our image and everything like that, so people could understand that to be associated with the TTFA, you're going to be associated with a professional organization. We are not there yet, but we're striving to get there.
What is you guys' relation with the secondary schools program? You have something?
Yes, we are actually in discussion with the secondary schools.
Right.
We are very close to signing a memorandum of understanding for the first time with the secondary schools. We had 2 meetings. A memorandum of understanding has been drafted to be circulated to the stakeholders. And very soon we may be signing a memorandum of understanding to create some synergies with the secondary schools. I'm happy to say it has been positive. The secondary schools is an integral part of football in Trinidad and Tobago, but I must point out that we must structure it in a particular way to get the benefits for the national program and the benefits for the secondary schools. There have to be some changes. I am not afraid to say that, in terms of maybe age group, maybe how long people stay in school and all that stuff like that, because we have to change that culture. And I must say that we are in talks, and we are encouraged by what we're hearing from the secondary schools.
Okay. Also, I want to challenge you guys to, when I'm in the States on the weekend and public holidays, every kid is out there playing soccer. AYSO, American Youth Soccer Association, AYSO. Why don't TFA develop something like that?
Well, again, going back to what I said earlier in the program, it is part
of your
grassroots initiative.
Right.
But again, we squat in.
Yeah.
Right. The grassroots program, when we try to get to 10,000 kids, we started with 2,000. When we get to 10,000 kids, it will have to be something regional, right? So therefore, you create a region in San Fernando, you create a region probably in Labre, you create a region in Tonapuna, a region in Arima, a region maybe in Rio Claro. And when we develop these regions, we can then have all these kids, as you said, on a weekend playing football. Again, facilities are very important. I mean, what the U.S. have on us is facilities. So you have a ground, you have a proper dressing room, you have a proper shower and all that stuff like that. I know the government of Trinidad and Tobago is trying to develop facilities throughout the regions. We've got to make use of our community centers and those sort of facilities to develop those things. So it has to be a community effort from everybody, just like you said, to get these kids playing football. But the start of that is our grassroots program, which we launched last week Friday. And you'll see that very soon we'll have 10,000 kids playing football on the same day at the same time, geared towards what you're thinking.
Well, also, and primary school football is like
key. It's key.
But we don't have it no more.
Yeah, it's key. Well, that's why we are targeting the primary school, Steve.
Right.
And we think that is a great initiative. Having said that, when we announced our program last Friday, we already get 2 additional sponsors who are so overwhelmed with that initiative that I think it's going to be oversubscribed.
All right. So we got a couple of minutes, David. Any closing comments that you missed or we both missed?
I just want to say to Trinidad and Tobago
Yeah.
and the football fans that we are doing the best that we can do. This administration, and I mean, no fisherman says that his fish is rotten, but I know deep within our heart that we are striving for excellence. What we have achieved in 20 months is there to be seen. We will have our critics, we will have our detractors, so be it, but we work steadfast in achieving our objective, and we want to see Trinidad football regain its #1 status in the Caribbean, not only on the playing pitch, but from an administrative standpoint, and we want to be the exemplars in the Caribbean. Just like how they say Trinidad is the New York of the Caribbean where everything happens, our football has to be that way too.
Mm-hmm. Well, because and I gotta tell you, I wasn't the biggest fan, but slowly I'm falling over. I'm becoming a fan. How things are going.
Steve, as I said, it was very difficult for me to convince anybody
Yeah.
that I will head an administration that will do a good job. When I came into office, it was a big challenge. Everybody thought that self-interest, W connection, all that stuff like that.
Right.
You know, I'll say something on this program that people won't believe.
Right.
It has been 20 months that I have not been in a W connection dressing room. It's a hard thing for me to do. But one thing I can tell you, when I give my heart to something, I'll give it my all. And I will die for it, Steve. And I have the support of a lot of people, my board and all that stuff like that. They are now buying into the vision that we set originally. And I said very clearly, history would absolve me.
Okay, David, I want to thank you for being on the program, bud.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
Anytime, and we'll bring you back because I have to check off your manifesto with what we.
Well, all I tell you, Steve, is go do it.
All right.
If you have some time tonight, go do it.
All right.
And maybe you have me back here next week.
All right, ACTN, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. Thank you, viewers, for watching. We have a Facebook page. You can check us out. We do have an email address, fieldofdreamstt@gmail.com. You can drop us a line. My name is Steve David. The show is ended. Go in peace, and I'll see you next week.